Canyon Lake Drive, then your destination will be on the left.
No tengo carro.
El punto ese allí abajo.
Your destination is on the left.
Así nomás. Ahí le damos una caminada.
No está frío, déjalo. Uy, me pego. Yo creo que vamos a hacer
Ahí voy.
Vente.
Bonito. Ok.
Papi, ¿dónde estamos?
En Los Ángeles.
Sí, hermano.
Ahí voy. No, no brinques.
Very good. I want to welcome you all aboard. My name is Dave, and I'll be your tour guide for the next 2 hours, probably longer because of our traffic. And because I've been doing these tours over 30 years now, my tours lean mostly towards the history of Hollywood. So you're going to see lots of historic sites and places where your favorite TV shows and movies have been filmed over the years. You're going to see how the wealthy live here in Los Angeles. And you're going to see some celebrity homes as well. Now, I'm going to be honest, a lot of the celebrity homes are going to be surrounded by hedges and trees and bushes, so it's going to be kind of difficult to see some of them, but a lot of them will be in the open as well. So you have to have those camera phones ready. And I will inform you if they still live there, or if they passed away, or if they still own the property and lease it out. You'll get all of that information during our tour today. Has anyone here ever seen a movie called Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts? Well, on your right is the Las Palmas Hotel where they filmed the scene when he's climbing the fire escape in the movie. And anytime you want to take a photograph, don't be afraid to say, Dave, hold up, please. And I will do that for you. But when I'm doing that, people in their cars are going to be honking at me and giving me dirty looks and calling me all kinds of names. You just do the same thing back to them. I want you to be yourself. You can ask questions, and you can contribute whatever you like as well. And when you write names to her, you're in school again, so I will be quizzing you about your knowledge of the business as well. How many of you are here in LA for the first time? First time in LA? Oh, very good. My party of 6 in the back, where are you from?
South Texas.
South Texas, what city?
Brownsville.
Brownsville, Texas. I've heard of that. Welcome to LA. My next family, where are you from?
Northwest Indiana, right? Chicago.
Oh, and sort of like the borderline of Indiana and Chicago? Oh, very good. Well, here's your quiz question. What celebrities are famous from Indiana?
Michael Jackson.
Well, very good. That's one. There are others as well. Mike Epps also. And your former vice president as well. No, sorry. Now, directly ahead of us, you'll see that church there with the red ribbon attached. And that church was used several years ago in a movie called Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg. A lot of the inside scenes of that film were done right there in that church. Now, Whoopi Goldberg is currently the host of a very popular TV show now. What's the name of it? That would be very good, sir. The View, 20 points for you. Excellent, sir. Have you all noticed the traffic here? Yeah, LA is very spread out, so you have to have a car here. In fact, I'm going to apologize to all of you for all the traffic that we're going to be probably encountering during the tour. But LA is very spread out, so you have to have a car here. And as you can see, everybody does. Even people that don't know how to drive, they have cars too. And we'll see lots of them out here. Right now. This is the oldest movie studio in Hollywood. That building right there is where they made the first motion pictures ever. It was opened by a gentleman named Cecil B. DeMille, and he was one of the pioneers of filmmaking back in the day. And that's now on your left, you see the entrance to the world famous Hollywood Bowl. It's on the large open air amphitheater that opened back in the 1920s. All the big stars performed there. In fact, it's where the Beatles played when they first came to the States back in 1964. And now, my friends, we are headed into the world famous Hollywood Hills. We're headed If you were going to see a celebrity today, who would you want to see? LeBron James. We've seen him. He's very, very nice. He's driving a Lamborghini Aventador. We've seen Denzel Washington. Look at the nicest record. I'll show you what he's done. But now we're turning up the long drive. It starts right here. And then it heads all the way through the second page. And its visual ends in fact, a lot of your big celebrities live there. People like Barbara Streisand and MJ, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a teacher.
Well, I'll point out homes for sale for you. You're wealthy.
Okay, great.
MJ, look at those homes up there in the hills. Could you just see yourself coming out the balcony enjoying the view? Yes, during an earthquake, you know we have those up there. Now let me give you guys a couple of views right now. Let me let these cars go by behind me first. Now I want you to, when I round this bend up here, look on the left and see if you can see the downtown LA skyline. Now it may be kind of hazy this morning because it was really cloudy, so it kind of hangs around for a little while. But now look on the left, everybody. See if we can see it. See, it's all hazy. You can't see the downtown LA skyline, just a little bit of it there.
The Hollywood sign is
A ver, mamanita, sentarte.
But let me give you guys another view. But this is going to be of our most famous landmark. Somebody has already spotted it, the Hollywood sign. Now, the Hollywood sign sits on a mountain called Mount Lee.
Ya no lo voy a agarrar.
And if you look over there on the left, you'll start to see it coming into view now. Now, the Hollywood sign was placed up there in 1923, and it used to read the word Hollywood Land, and it was describing a real estate development beneath it called Hollywood Land, but later on, the L-A-N-D portion started deteriorating, so they just left it Hollywood,
¿Dónde está?
and they've since declared it a historic landmark.
No
And
lo
each
veo.
of those letters are 50 feet high, made of reinforced
no
steel,
veo.
and each letter cost over $28,000 a piece. Now, we used to go up closer to it, but the residents in the area started complaining about the tour buses, so we have to come up here to see it, unfortunately. But you can go up there yourselves in your own vehicles and get a lot closer than we are right now, and you'll be right underneath it, and it's a great place to park your car and check out the sign. It's really nice, so you may want to consider that. By the way, the road that you take is Lake Hollywood Drive, so remember that or Google it up. Now let me look on, I want you guys to look on the left again, and you'll see a white building on the edge of the cliff with a domed roof over there. That's called the Griffith Park Observatory, and you go there and learn a lot about the solar system and look through their telescopes at the stars and the planets, and it overlooks the largest park here in LA, which is called Griffith Park, and they've done filming there too. They did some of the Star Trek movies there, and the singer Adele did a mini concert there not long ago. And they did a legendary movie there called Rebel Without a Cause, starring a gentleman named James Dean. Now, my friends, what I want you to do now is look into the canyon on your left. Now, you will notice that there's a house down there with a swimming pool on the end of it. And that house used to belong to a celebrity couple by the name of Ice-T and Coco. But they moved to New Jersey recently for some reason. But Ice-T, however, is from Los Angeles. He went to Crenshaw High School here, one of my old rivals. And you may have seen him recently on the various commercials he's been doing. And he's on a great TV show now called Law and Order SVU. And he recently had a birthday, just turned 66 years young, too. So my friends from Brownsville, Texas, what made you decide to come to LA to visit? 5 bedrooms, 7.5 bathrooms, just for your kids. And they only want $2.9 million for it. Yeah, you see,
Only
you
that?
may want to consider that, MJ. But MJ, this is a starter home. I'm going to show you some better ones than that one. Don't worry about this whole thing over here. We're going to see much better ones than that one. But right now, though, we're going to another old house, but this one is currently owned by a celebrity. And she's owned this property now for several years, but the property, however, is quite old, and she hasn't done a thing to it. Now, it could be because, now that house and property over there is owned by a young lady named Katy Perry. Yeah, she bought that just over 4 years ago before the pandemic hit. And you know, she's one of the judges now on American Idol, but she's going to be leaving it. And she's currently engaged to a famous actor from England named Orlando Bloom. And she used to be married to a famous comedian from England named Russell Brand, but she kicked him to the curb because he's crazy.
Muy bien, mamá.
Now, this next intersection, where you see the parking enforcement vehicle, this area is called Runyon Canyon, and this is a series of trails where people like to jog and exercise and walk their dogs, including celebrities. In fact, not long ago, one of our other tour guides saw Brad Pitt up here jogging. And Brad Pitt is very nice in person. He is one of the nicer people in Hollywood, in fact. So remember that name, Runyon Canyon. This area is very popular with celebrities. Now, let me give you guys some advice. Should you drive up here on Mulholland Drive, do not park on the side of the road like these vehicles are doing, because not only will you get an expensive ticket, your vehicle will be towed away, and it costs upwards of $300 or more to remove your vehicle from impound. So do not park up here should you drive on Mulholland Drive. Now, normally, we could look on the left and very clearly see the Pacific Ocean out there, but not today because of all that haze and fog and Pacific Relayer out there. And we have lots of wildlife up here too. We have deer and coyotes and red-tailed hawks and the usual rabbits, skunks, and squirrels and raccoons and opossums. And we have mountain lions and bobcats and numerous varieties of rattlesnakes as well. Now, coming up on your left, my friends from Texas, they probably see a lot of rattlesnakes out there. Now, on your left, over this brown gate, this house was used several years ago in a movie called Lethal Weapon 2 with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. So should you stream it or rent the DVD, you will remember this house. And this house is used often for television shows and movies and commercials, even though it's still a private residence. And should a studio come out to your house and they want to use it for a TV show or a movie, you say yes. Because you will make very good money, not just initially, but for years to come afterwards because of the residuals you will get every time they rerun it. So should they come out there to Brownsville and say, sir, we'd like you to have to do, yes. Come on in and tear it up. Because you'll make great money and they will restore your property back to the way it looked before they moved in, and sometimes better than the way it looked.
Sí, claro.
Now, here in Southern California, we have lots of amusement parks here. We have Disneyland, which is currently celebrating its 69th anniversary, and we have Knott's Berry Farm, and we have by Hollywood celebrity standards. But this gentleman has lived here for quite a while because he works right down there in Hollywood at CBS Television City Studios. Oh, by the way, it's quiz time, students. Get your notes out. This is an easy one. I expect you to get this.
Traes a pegar aquí.
In fact, this show should be coming on TV right now. So he's at work. On your left, over this brown gate, is the home of comedian Drew Carey. Now, Drew Carey currently hosts a very popular game show. What's the name of it?
Price is Right.
The Price is Right.
Gives them.
The gentleman who used to be the host named Bob Barker just passed away about a month ago at the age of 99. Now, coming up on your right, you're going to get a view of an area of Los Angeles known as the San Fernando Valley. If you've ever heard the term Valley Girl, this is where it originated from. The San Fernando Valley coming up on your right, right now. Now let me point some things out to you. If you look way over there on the right, you'll notice that cluster of blue buildings way over there. That is Universal Studios. So if anybody plans on going to Universal Studios, there it is, right over there. Can you make out the Harry Potter castle to the right of it?
Yes.
Now behind the Harry Potter castle, there's a group of beige-colored buildings that all look alike, and that is Warner Brothers Studios, where they did shows like Ellen and Friends. And every studio here offers a tour of their facilities, so that you can see how they make the movies and TV shows here. And the Warner Brothers studio over there is one of the best ones.
Ahí voy, mamá.
So we're getting more beautiful views in San Fernando Valley. And let me tell you about the street that I have to cross right up here. It's called Torrison Drive. And we used to go down that street because a celebrity currently lives at the end of the cul-de-sac down there, but we can't go down there anymore because the residents here in the area kept complaining all the time about the tour buses. They're so snobby. So we can't go down there anymore to see Justin Timberlake. And he is very nice. He will gladly come out and wave and say hi to you if you catch him outside of his gate, but his wife is an evil creature. And she's one of the people that were complaining all the time about the tour buses. Now, his wife's name is actress Jessica Biel. Now, if you look again across the valley on the right, you'll see what looks like an airport runway there at the foothill. It's kind of hard behind the fog, but that's one of the runways to the Bob Hope Burbank Airport, named after one of our great comedians who lived to be 100 years old. And here's one of the few celebrities that have 4 of those stars. Entertainment. And when you buy a home here in MJ, you can buy one either overlooking the valley side like you see right now, or you can buy one overlooking the city side like you saw a bit earlier. So you have a couple of hours to make it fine. Now I know you all are familiar with a gentleman named Charlie Sheen, and you know he has his issues. But about 7 years ago, he claimed he had 2 of his beautiful Bentley automobiles stolen from him. And when the police department here in LA found one of his new Bentleys, someone had driven it off this cliff here on your right. That's where they found it, right down there. Some people think he did it. Now, during our tour, you're going to see your largest collection of Bentleys and Rolls Royce and Ferrari and Lamborghini and Maserati and Aston Martin and Range Rover and Porsche and McLaren. And that is how we spot the celebrities that ride around in motion. We get them every day. We recently saw Samuel L. Jackson in his Maserati, and he was very, very nice to us. And we saw Nicole Kidman in the back of a limousine. And she rolled her window down and stuck her head out the window and waved and smiled to all of us. I almost fell on the land in there. We have a Kardashian dance here. Kardashian story I'm going to share with you. On your left, you see a green house. This is television star from the 1980s. Now, he doesn't live there anymore. He's currently leasing that property out, but he did live there for a number of years. And he made writer and Baywatch. David Hasselhoff owns all that property there on your right. Now, he has since moved to Malibu, but he still owns and maintains that property right there. Now, I want to apologize to you guys for my voice going out a little bit because I have a heavy throat cold, so it's kind of bothered me, so I apologize for that. Now, when around this bend, you'll see a house. Listen carefully to my description because it's way over there across the canyon where you see all those homes way over there at the very top. Now, listen carefully. The third house from the right has an orange roof. Belongs to singer Gwen Stefani, who's originally from Orange County, California, and she used to be a member of a band. Do you know the name of it? That would be No Doubt. And she's currently married to a famous country singer from Oklahoma. What's his name? Was on The Voice. Blake Shelton. Very good. 20 points for you back there. That would be Edie Hollywood Hills. There would be heading down to a very historic neighborhood. And that is one of several properties on the Hollywood Hills. That's owned by socialite Paris Hilton, one of the heirs to the Hilton Hotel chain. And she has a younger sister named Nikki, and a younger brother named Conrad. And the younger brother has always been in the news every time for something. 4 months ago, he was on the airplane flight and had too much to drink and became very obnoxious and started harassing the flight attendants and claiming he could buy everybody on the airplane. And he became so obnoxious they had to hand and raised here in LA. And when I was a teenager, my friends and I used to sneak into this old house with a gentleman named Harry Houdini. Lived in this White House on the left during the late 1930s. In fact, you can see some of the original construction and the foundation. And that used to be a waterfall there behind the garage area. And the property was purchased about a year and a half ago by a young lady named Drew Barrymore. And when I was a teenager, my friends and I were totally obnoxious in that house. We were tearing things up and making noise. We were awful kids. Now, MJ, the homes in this area are much less expensive. Many of them cost, you see how raggedy they look, right? But it's about location. You tell people, and that means something. Aren't you guys glad it doesn't still need for that price? Now when I round this next bend, you'll see the little store where you buy your loaf of bread and dozen eggs. It's called the Canyon Country Store. And if you go in there, you'll see pictures on the wall of some of the celebrities who actually do stop in there from time to time. And a young lady named Jennifer Aniston was an employee there.
Wow.
And they serve alcoholic beverages there too. You get a cocktail when you get your dozen eggs. Make this quick left turn. Now the house that you see directly ahead of us, the tan one with the Spanish tiled roof and the bush with the red flowers, is where Jim Morrison of the Doors lived until he moved to Paris and promptly passed away from a substance abuse issue. And when I make this right turn, you will see the picture of Jim Morrison on the electrical box on the corner on the left. Go, turn, turn, turn. There is the great Jim Morrison of the Doors right there. Now we're going to continue down Laurel Canyon Boulevard a little ways. And one name you're going to hear me mention several times throughout the tour is that of a young lady named Lindsay Lohan. Now, Lindsay Lohan, William Holden. Now, since my friend's from Brownsville, Texas, I heard you speak very good Spanish. So the first restaurant I'm going to show you has a very interesting Spanish name. And whenever my Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters say the name of this restaurant, they start laughing hysterically. And I want you to notice the name of the restaurant. See it right there on the left?
On the left?
That's Peaches Tacos.
Oh, that's
Peaches Tacos. That means effing tacos.
We need to come here.
I bet they're really good.
Yeah, that's what they say. Now this hotel here on the right here, this is called the Chateau Marmont Hotel. Lindsay Lohan threw a party here once that cost about $10,000 and she refused to pay them. So she's no longer allowed to go in there. And we lost one of our great comedians here named John Belushi. Saturday Night Live, Blues, Brother High. He looked kind of raggedy that day, but he still waved. Now if anybody here is familiar with an actress named Demi Moore, she did a movie once called Strip Tease. Now a lot of these scenes can be done on the left. And this that you see over here called The Body Shop. A lot of the inside scenes of that film were done right there. Then when I round this bend, you will see coming into view a yellow railroad car. And this is actually a restaurant. It's called Carney's Hot Dogs and Hamburgers. Now the interesting thing about the Saddle Ranch is that you can go in here and actually ride a mechanical bull. Now I know my friends from Texas are saying, oh, we have real ones, but we have to deal with mechanical ones here in LA here. This is the Saddle Ranch. Well, that's here. Okay, you go hold us up, go left. Are you gonna tell me to stop? Here's the Saddle Ranch. Really good food there, Joe. Highly recommend it. Now, my friends, we're going to be in traffic for now because they're, of course, working on a street or a building here as they do 365 days here on Sunset Boulevard. So we're going to be in some traffic, so put on your patience cap. And don't do what this lady's doing over here on the left, texting and driving. Do not do what she's doing. That is a big ticket. My friends from Indiana, what else do you plan on doing while you're here?
So we're doing
Well, on your right is one of two of our great comedy nightclubs. It's called the Comedy Store, and it's where your professional and amateur comedians will come and try out their new material on folks. You just go in here and buy a couple of drinks and walk from room to room and sample the material of all the great comedians. And then you'll see the names on the wall here of all the greats, and they all still go in there too, the ones that are still with us. When I get up to the doorway, you'll see all the greats that I know you will recognize right there. Now, the gentleman named Pauly Shore, he's a member of my jam. So is a gentleman named Ice Cube. And maybe you ladies remember a gentleman named Fabio.
Eddie Murphy.
They've all been there and still do. My friends from Brownsville, Texas, what else do you plan on doing while you're here? Oh, so good, so you saw what it is. Very good. Now, California used to belong to Mexico, so rooms tour. There's lots of Spanish influence in the construction of the homes and the buildings, as well as the street names, like we're crossing a street right over here now called La Cienega Boulevard. And it starts right here and heads south, almost to the LA airport. And when I cross it, you can look down there on the left and you'll see how lengthy of a street that it is. Now also we'll be coming up on the right, you're going to see a painting of Kobe Bryant on the right, on the building. And I had the pleasure of meeting him once. He was the nicest guy, very appreciative of his fans. So that was quite a loss there. Oh, they had several big ceremonies and things. Many years ago called American Graffiti with Suzanne Summers, Harrison Ford, Richard Dreyfuss, and Ron Howard, who's a very nice person. What's your name, sir? D'Angelo. What TV show did Ron Howard get his start on? No.
there was one of his
Look at one of these ugly Tesla pickup trucks. Aren't they ugly? Look at that. That's a hideous creature. Ron Howard's a little OP. Two of my favorite cartoon characters, and they are Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose. And I just found out that the voice of Rocky the Flying Squirrel is actually that of a woman. In all these years growing up watching that cartoon, I thought there was a little boy over there doing Rocky the Flying Squirrel. Now also coming up on your left, you're going to see a yellow sign that says Roro's Liquor. Now, right next door to Roro's Liquor is a nightclub known as the Viper Room. And until recently, the Viper Room was owned by actor Johnny Depp. And sometimes he still shows up there and jumps on stage and performs because he's quite the rock musician. A lot of people don't know that. And we lost a young actor there several years ago named River Phoenix. And he has a famous brother who's also an actor that won an Academy Award for Best Actor for the movie The Joker. Do you know his name? Joaquin Phoenix. Now on your right here is another famous rock and roll nightclub. It's called the Whiskey A Go-Go. And this is where many of your rock bands started early in their careers, like The Doors and Beach Boys. And even one of my favorites, The greatest rock and roll band that ever lived, the Rolling Stones, played there early in their careers as well. And I snuck in there when I was a teenager too. I had to see the Temptations at the time. And I was 16 and snuck right on the back. And they gave a great show too. Oh yes, I could write a book. Now we're on our way to another famous rock and roll nightclub in just a minute. We'll be on the right. And next door is a place called the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Now Charlie Sheen is allegedly a regular there. And one of our great baseball players named Joe DiMaggio proposed to the love of his life here. And her name was Marilyn Monroe. And of course she's there, yes. Now directly ahead of us was a very tall building that got on the right there. And that's a condominium. And you can do your lucky family with people there. In fact, the top floor penthouse is for sale right now in Jack. Take a look at that. $32.5 million for the top floor penthouse. And if you move in there, you can say you live in the same building where Cher used to own a condo, and the same building with Elton John on the condo, and the same building with Nicki Minaj on the condo, and the same building with Lindsay Lohan was evicted. And also when you see that building, it lets you know you are now about to enter the city of Beverly Hills. Now, Beverly Hills is its own independent city within the city of LA. They have their own police and fire department, and mayor, and city council. It could be, I don't know, I don't do what you do. It could be. It's So my friend from Brownstown, what's your name, Dad?
Julian.
Julian. Luke Perry, who passed away from a massive stroke at only the age of 52. Now, our first celebrity home we're going to see here in Beverly Hills will be coming up right now. And the celebrity who lives here also just passed away about a year ago. Now, you will notice these big hedges here ahead of us, and behind those hedges you will see a tan house with a Spanish tiled roof. And this is the home of world-renowned journalist Larry King. Now, Larry King lived here a number of years, and he was very nice. He would come out and wave to the tour buses occasionally. Now, this is the entrance here on your left, but let me show you the rest of it. Now, it's not the biggest or fanciest house you're going to see, but it's still a nice one, nonetheless. In fact, it occupies this entire block here on the left, the home of Larry King. Now, Larry King used to work for CNN, which is located in downtown Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard, but we just turned onto a street called Doheny Road. And it was named after a wealthy oil man and industrialist named Edward Rush Hour and X-Men. Now the building that you see coming up ahead down the street, you can look up to the right and you will see more of the beautiful Great Stone Mansion Park and property. And they still do building every time. It's much nicer than you can see from down here, but you'll get a view of how expansive some of the property is there on the right. And that's just a part of it. And we are now on our way to a celebrity home. And this next celebrity home used to belong to a celebrity home. And they sold it to another celebrity who owned it until about a year ago. Ozzy Osbourne and his wife Sharon. This is where they did when they did that show. I didn't remember. Oh, they did so many things never open. And then they sold it to a young lady named Christina Aguilera. But she has recently sold it though. Now Sharon Osbourne was recently fired, a couple of years ago, fired from a TV show called The Talk. She was talking too much. Now on the way to the home of another celebrity couple, and this is one of several properties that this couple currently owns in fact around the world. If they're building your mansion, you'll let this big lot. Now the next celebrity home that I'm going to be showing you guys is going to be located way up into the hills on the right, and it's going to be difficult to see. Now I want you to look up the street on the right, and way in the back you will see a white house with pointed roof. Now it's set way back behind trees, and it's really hard to see. Trucks in the way. Okay, look, it's way back there. See it? Oh, that's owned by David and Victoria Beckham. Now, David Beckham, as you know, is one of our great soccer players. Victoria Beckham, a member of what singing group? The Spice Girls. And she has her own clothing line now, and she's been very successful with it too. Now, and around this next bend, you will see another old house that will be coming into view right now. Now, this is one of several properties here in Beverly Hills that is still owned by the Sinatra family. Frank Sinatra actually lived in this old house in the early 50s for a period of time, and if you were alive today, he'd be over 100 years old. Now, he lost a son several years ago, also named Frank Sinatra, and also a singer, and he has a daughter who was a singer as well. And this house has a very interesting history. Back in the late 70s, it was owned by a very strange and eccentric Arab chief. And when this gentleman lived in this mansion, he painted it a very strange color. And then he put nude statues on the canvases on the wall and painted them flesh color. And then he put real human hair on the bodies of the statues. Now they removed all that stuff now if they entertained the mansion. It was coming up on the right in the next lot. If you guys could have seen that, it would stop the traffic. Causing accidents out here. Now you can negotiate down from that because it's been on the market for a little while, so you come in about $50 million, So think about it. Julian.
Yes, sir.
Are you guys staying in a hotel?
Yes.
Well, check into that hotel. I have a better one for you.
All right.
It's where the stars and the wealthy stay. A very historic old hotel built in the 1920s called the Beverly Hills Hotel. And we are going to be driving right alongside of it too. And whenever you see these orange or red buses, this is a part of our public transportation system here. It's called the LA Metro. And I used to work for them as a driver too. I used to drive those buses. And I hated it. Every strange creature gets on. Now before I show you guys the Beverly Hills Hotel, I want you to go to the on the left of the next corner. You see a beautiful property that's called the was arrested for that property. And you might remember this big kid records like Meet Me Up Before You Go and Hairless Whispers. And there would be singer George Michael from the group Wham. And we lost him a couple of years ago too, unfortunately. Now the Beverly Hills Hotel here is where Marilyn Monroe stayed when she filmed the classic movie Some Like It Hot. It's also where Donald Trump stayed when he had a meeting with a lady named Stormy Daniels. It's also one of our great actresses, Elizabeth Taylor, was a resident for a number of years. Now, when Elizabeth Taylor lived here, She rented one of the bungalows you're going to see coming up on the left all to herself. And Julian, you and your lovely family can do the same thing. In fact, you get a lovely suite here for up to $17,000 a night.
All right.
Now, next door, this White House on the left here, is one of two properties that's owned by world-renowned boxer Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, my.
And we saw him drive out one day too. He drives a white Rolls Royce convertible.
Man.
It's this one over here. This one over here.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one.
But that's a nice house. But no, he lived over here. Now we saw him drive out when he drives a white Rolls Royce convertible, and he was very nice. He waved and smiled to all of us, and he had 5 hoochies in the car with him, and they waved too. Now, as we travel through residential Beverly Hills, you are going to see some of the most beautiful gardens and flowers and landscaping, and especially hedges everywhere. And if you are in the gardening, you can make very good money, but you have to know what you're doing. Now we'll be heading down a couple of streets with lots of celebrity homes on them. But most of these celebrities are really significant. Now this photo was run up here in the quiet environment. And it starts at Beverly Hills and it also goes to the alley. And it's the more elegant of the street to Lower Canyon Boulevard. Now this is Martin Cross, so bear with me for a minute here. Now, perhaps some of you have seen reruns of an old television show called Bewitched. And the White House on the right that they are modeling is the former home of actress Agnes Moorehead. She played the part of the mother-in-law in Dora, and she lived right here until she passed away. Also on your right, you will notice this golden cream-colored mansion coming up, and this property is currently owned by an actor who's been nominated for an Oscar in the past. And in addition to this house, he also owns a beautiful Italian villa overlooking Lake Como in Italy, and that would be George Clooney. He owns this property here on the right. Now, he bought this when his late aunt, who lived and passed away, and she was a very famous and popular singer named Rosemary Clooney. And before she lived here, another famous musician named George Gershwin lived here. Now, also on your right, behind these trees, former home of actress Betty Grable. But Madonna owned this property for several years though, but she has since sold it. Does Madonna look 65? Well, she's had a lot of work done, so looks like something. Now, coming up on your left, if anybody remembers an old detective television show called Columbo, on your left, former home of actor Peter Falk, and his wife still lives here. And she's home too. And she is the nicest lady. She is so friendly. Now, across the street on the right, you notice they demolished a house here a couple of months ago, and it's unfortunate because this was the former home of one of our greatest actresses, Joan Crawford. Now, when I first started driving tours, the lady who lived on the left of the corner where you see the beautiful roses used to wave to all the tour buses. She was the nicest lady. You catch her coming and going, and she would wave. Lucille Ball. This is where Lucy lived until she passed away. Should you ever see an episode of one of her really old shows where she and Ethel are climbing the back wall of another celebrity's home in Beverly Hills, it's her house they use for that scene. Now, as you would imagine, here in Beverly Hills they require lots of security. And Joan Crawford's old house that they tore down still has lots of security cameras on it. And I'm going to count them on it. And there's another one in there. And on the tree, and we're not finished. There's another one. And on the tree, and another one. So that house Now here's a tip for spotting celebrities. Whenever you see these Mercedes-Benz G-Class like the one directly behind us, the celebrities really like those. So you have to check those out. And you're going to see a million of us. On your left, former home of George Harrison of the Beatles. Next door, you can see a house with a faded copper green roof. Not only is this a former home of Marilyn Monroe, also a former home of Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson when they were together. Now back across the street on the right, we see this long black fence. Now this is going to be difficult to see. Former West Coast home of Elvis Presley. Now most people are familiar with Graceland in Tennessee, but this is where he lived on the West Coast. And he lived here with his wife at the time, Priscilla Presley. And maybe you heard that we lost their daughter a couple of months ago. However, everybody comes down this street for one reason. And that is on the property that you see on the left coming up behind all these trees. It's going to be really hard to see. This is where Michael Jackson lived when he passed away from the fatal overdose of the drug propofol. Now, if you remember that day that he passed away, which is now just over 16 years ago, you're going to remember the entrance that I'm going to be showing you, because this is where the ambulances parked and the news reporters and all the television cameras. They were all parked right out here in front of Michael's house. Now, Michael did not own this house. He leased it for $100,000 a month. Now, there's another property he did own in Santa Barbara County that most people are familiar with called Neverland, and Neverland has been sold. And another celebrity lived here before Michael did, and that was actor Sean Connery from Scotland. And another celebrity passed away the same day that Michael did, and nobody paid attention until much later, and that was actress Farrah Fawcett, formerly of Charlie's Angels, from Houston, Texas. So we're coming back to Sunset Boulevard again, and this is a beautiful street to take to the ocean. It ends in the town of Pacific Palisades, where they recently found actor Matthew Perry deceased. His sisters. He lives right here on the left. His name is Luis Miguel. This is where Luis Miguel lives, right here. Luis!
Luis! Luisito!
We're going to come back to it, but first let me take you guys to the home of the nicest of all celebrities. This gentleman is so nice, he'll even engage you in conversation if you catch him coming in and out of his driveway, oh gosh, which we have many times. He knows me now. The home of singer Lionel Richie. And he is just the nicest person, Lionel Richie. He's so friendly. Come out and spoken to us a couple of occasions. What band was he a member of? They did a song called Brick House. You remember that song? That would be the Commodores. Luis, the Malacada, Luis, man. What if we came out and said, hi everybody, come on in for cocktails, we'll be going in. That's the security guard. Now we're on our way to a part of Beverly Hills that we refer to as the flats of Beverly Hills because it's right down here in the neighborhood. And there aren't any views at all to speak of, but the homes are still very nice. And very expensive too. Now the next street I'm crossing at the light down here is called Whittier Drive. And when I first started driving through there's people that take a singer who's been on one of Woodland Street to live down there. Her name is Ella Fitzgerald. And she was the nicest. People live there. I don't know, it looks like a cave. Now, the next street we're crossing here is called Santa Monica Boulevard, and it takes you to the coastal town of Santa Monica, where you can stroll along the historic Santa Monica Pier. There's an amusement park on the pier, several cafes, arcades, and it's right next door to one of our more expressive dishes called Villa Street. You may have heard of it. And then they can jump very far. There's all the high stores here. There's St. Laurent. On the left, you'll see Ralph Lauren. Next door, brand new that just opened, Giorgio Armani.
De aquí somos.
Now, next door to that MJ is a place called Hermes, and you can buy yourself and all the other lovely ladies here on the van a $100,000 handbag. And you'll see one of 3 Louis Vuittons on the street. And one of 2 Balenciagas. And on the right, you'll see the Givenchy next to Cartier. And when you're in Cartier, you go to Dr. Cat and get plastic surgery. Now, most of the people that you see walking down the street are tourists. You can tell the people that different from the tourists because the tourists are walking around with no bags and walking bags, just window shopping, cell phones in their hand. Yeah, if you saw the movie Pretty Woman, you may recall the scene where Julia Roberts is strolling in and out of the stores now. On the left, you'll see one of 4 Dior's on the street. And you'll see Rolex on the left.
Mira, globos de
And on the right, you'll see
decoración,
World
son
Famous
reales.
Gucci.
Son de-
And maybe you remember a movie called The Devil Wears Prada.
Mira,
Right, Meryl Streep.
es de cemento. No se rompió.
Aquí.
Now, whenever you watch the Oscars on television, a lot of the jewelry that those ladies wear on the red carpet are rented for that one day from the Harry Winston area. And the building that you see directly ahead of us is the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, also seen in Pretty Woman. And it's on Wilshire Boulevard, which also starts in downtown LA and goes to the ocean. And about a half a mile to the west of that is the Beverly Hilton Hotel, where they found singer Whitney Houston deceased. Now when I make this left turn, you can look up the little walkway here on the left and you'll see Dolce & Gabbana there. And on the right, you'll see Versace, owned by Donatella Versace, who's had about 20 facelifts. And she's still hideous. What is the more pricey boutiques and cafes, and they're very Italian centric. So you're going to see fancy Italian names everywhere. And here's another tip of spotty celebrities. Whenever you see these black Escalades and Suburbans, these are the limousines of the day. So you have to check those out. We saw Jay-Z in the back of one. He rolled his window down. There's one nod, you know. That's what we saw Nicole Kidman in. That's what we saw Jennifer. We saw them all in those. You have to check those out. Now, speaking of plastic surgery, if anybody watches a TV show about plastic surgery called Botched, their offices are down here on Wilshire Boulevard. Dr. Dubrow and Dr. Dancer. My favorite is Dr. Pimple Popper. Now, coming up on your left in the next block, you will see a restaurant called Via Alloro. And we saw actor Alec Baldwin waiting for table here, and he came out and waved to us. Excuse me. And basketball legend Magic Johnson was in here having dinner with his family. And I told the waiter to go in there and get him, and he did. And Magic Johnson came up to the band and said hi to everyone and signed everybody's autograph who wanted one. Very nice guy, Magic Johnson. Now we're turning left onto a street called Canyon Drive. And this is the street where a lot of the wealthy and the celebrities do their patronizing on this street. So you can see people walking down the street with attitudes and fancy cars lining the street everywhere. And ladies, when you move here, there's a rule you have to abide by as a lady. You may have already noticed it. You have to dye your hair blonde. You could be 90 and your hair has to be long. And you'll see some 90-year-olds with it too. Now on the corner on the right, you'll see a restaurant up here called Il Postillo. And it's also a celebrity hangout. We saw Denzel Washington and his wife dining there. And they were very nice. They both turned around and waved and smiled to us. He's one of the nicest celebrities here. And Kim Kardashian was standing on this corner one day, and she was wearing a white pantsuit that was way too tight. But she still waves. She's very nice. And thankfully, she went with her nutcase ex-husband. Now, on your right coming up, you'll see the restaurant with the white umbrellas here, and it's called Porta Via. And we saw director Mel Brooks dining here, and he just turned 95, but he still took the time to stand up and wave to us. Very nice guy. This is an expensive restaurant right here. You see people dining, sipping their wine, with their noses up in the air. See the blonde hair ladies? Yeah, behind it. That's the restaurant here. Like what they do. Well, since MJ didn't see anything she wanted to purchase for us, you guys, we have to go. But that was just a portion of the Rodeo Drive shopping area. It goes about 7 blocks to the west, so you always come back. Now, what we're going to be doing now, everybody, is we're going to stop at this beautiful park up here. It's called Beverly Gardens Park, so that you guys can get out and stretch your legs for a little while, or use the restroom facilities that you'll see coming up on the right, or better, walk across the street and take a photograph with the historic Beverly Hills sign with a boat in front of it. You'll see it shortly. And we'll be here like 10 to 15 minutes, but don't rush. And I can see the sign coming. And I can talk over there. So bear with me.
Sick.
You'll see on the right-hand side a tall Art Deco style tower there, and that's part of the Beverly Hills Police Department and courthouse. And they've done filming there too. They did scenes of the original Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy there. And when Lindsay Lohan was in trouble a lot, she went to court there a few times, and they televised it on our local news. And I went to court there too once. I forgot to pay a ticket and they got me. Now, when I parked the van over here, you guys open the door for you. Please watch your step as you exit, because this is what starts. It's called Cedar Sinai Medical. Whenever you hear about a celebrity who passed away or had a baby or had something stuck on or removed, it was done at Cedar. In fact, I had even transplant surgery there a couple of years ago. And my knees were bad because many years ago I used to run track and field. I wanted people like the people to get to the time when the young man needed to lose step. So we all moved over to look at it, and as he drove away from the stoplight, he showed us a very rude finger gesture. And I had kids on. And that gentleman right there, Simon Cowell, not very nice. And Halle Berry, not very nice. That's why she came to the husband. And singer Chris Brown. But I still get girls in the hand and say, I want to see Chris Brown. I'm in love with Chris Brown. I say, girl, will knock you out. No, you'll change for me. I'll be good for you. But the nice ones, more than make up for the mean ones. People like comedian Dan Aykroyd. It is the home of the Directors Guild of America. Do, and you are going to see where they cleaned out the Oscars too. And then several years ago, Keith Dash got a little bookshop. It's one of the things that was Divine Brown, and he was parked right here next to Bank of America. And at the time, he was engaged to a Beautiful likenesses. Now, MJ, I didn't tell you what I needed for you to purchase for me for my birthday. I just turned 71. What I need very badly, MJ, and I know you can afford it, is a car. And coming up on your right, MJ, will be a variety of vehicles I will let you choose to purchase for me. Here they are. Now, MJ, this black Rolls Royce here is a brand new model that just came out. It's all electric. And it costs $600,000. Oh, okay. Oh, we'll be back. Now I want you to notice on that past the light, that building down there with the red horizontal sign of the entrance. And that's a music store. It's called the Guitar Center, but it doubles as a museum called the Rock Walk of Fame. And it features many of the artifacts from the early days of rock and roll. They actually have the original blue suede shoes that belonged to Elvis Presley in that building, and one of the original guitars that belonged to Jimi Hendrix. And it's a great place to go if you are into the history of rock and roll, unless you lived it like I did. Now I showed you guys where Michael Jackson lived when they found him deceased. But when the Jackson family moved to Los Angeles in 1970, many of the younger siblings went to school here on your right at Gardner Street Elementary School. Yes, they went to public school when they first got here. And you will notice that the auditorium is named for one of the former students. Now we are headed back to Hollywood Boulevard. Now us locals here refer to that street. I was supposed to go first. Refer to that street as Holly Weird Boulevard because of all the strange creatures you'll see walking the streets. Now the street used to be called Prospect Avenue. Prospect Avenue at the furthest eastern portion of the city of Hollywood, which is a neighborhood called Silver Lake. And did you know the celebrities have to pay for those when they get them? Yeah, they're not free. They have to give up $50,000 whenever they receive a star of the Walk of Fame. But of course, it's like 50 cents to them. Now, on your right, you see the Roosevelt Hotel coming up. Now, this is one of the grand hotels in the Canadian Hollywood. All the big stars used to stay there. Marilyn Monroe moved in there when she was only 18 and started her career. And it's also the site of the very first Academy Award ceremony in 1929. Now, across the street on the left is probably the most famous building on this street. It's called the Chinese Theater. And it was opened by Sid Grauman in 1927. And it's famous for the handprints, footprints, and signatures of the celebrities here in the cement in the forecourt of the theater. Now, they're going to have some sort of movie premiere here shortly. And that's why they're putting up all these visits, because I don't know what the premiere is going to be, but it's going to be one here. Now, on your left, the tall white building is called the Dolby Theater, and that's where they hand out the Oscars every year. Whenever you watch the Oscars on television, this is the area where they close off Hollywood Boulevard and line it with that red carpeting. And the stars will march up here to the Dolby to get their Oscar awards. Now, it used to be called the Kodak Theater, but Kodak filed for bankruptcy, so they gave it to the Dolby Group. But this is where Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Here's the Dolby Theater. Now, across the street on the right here is where they take the Jimmy Kimmel Show. So then if you are fans of that great comedian, this is where you will find him. And next door to that is the El Capitan Theater, one of the oldest theaters in Hollywood. now owned by the Disney Group. So they own show Disneyville here now. And back across the street on the left, we see that police car is the approximate location of Donald Trump's car. And a couple of years ago, someone destroyed it with a pickaxe. And his star is the most vandalized star in the history of the Walk of Fame. No star has been vandalized more than Donald Trump. I wonder why. By the way, the last person to receive a star was actor Chris Hemsworth. And before that was singer Martha Reeves, and Martha in the Van Gallery. Now coming up on your right, you'll notice this building with a dinosaur on the roof, and that's called Ripley's Believe It or Not Auditorium. But when I go by there, notice how they spell the word auditorium. Now if you want to come back down here, my friend, it's like 4 blocks from our depot, or I pick you up, so you can always walk back down here. And I suggest you walk, because parking will be near impossible. So on the stairs, about 10 minutes walk. I want to say this area reminds me of Times Square in New York. Also on your right, you'll see one of 4 of our Scientology buildings here in Hollywood. And that's the strange religion that several of our actors are members of, like Tom Cruise, John Travolta. And a lady that we lost a couple of months ago named Kirstie Alley from the TV show Cheers. She was also a Scientologist. So my friends, we're going to be concluding our tour shortly. Did you enjoy yourselves?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad that you did. And I want to thank you guys for being good sports on the tour too. As you can tell, I enjoy giving the tours. It's fun for me too. So I like to involve everybody like we're one happy family. So thank you all very much for doing that. And if you enjoy the tour, now please give us a review or a shout out or a rating on Yelp and Spotify or Google. If anybody's thinking about possibly driving to Las Vegas, a 4-hour drive from here, you go up Interstate 15. And on the way there, you go to the hottest place on earth, which is called Death Valley.
Carlos.
Want to be selfie with me? Who are you? No. What about you? You speak English?
No. What do you answer? Take a selfie with him. And from there you can hop over to the Hoover Dam. And from there you can hop over to the Grand Canyon. All those things are close to one another. Those things while you're here too. I have to go around this block to let you guys out. Bear with us for a minute here.
Lo querías.
Pues no, que el carnap. Ahí se va parando con carnap. Este vale 20.
No. Poco.
Donde dice Souvenirs of Hollywood, ahí mira.
Ah, ya la vi. Así le iba a pasar a Mamachita.
Que le tomes una foto ya, mi amor.
Ahorita te la tomo. Vamos. Ponte. Ponte. ¿Eh?
Ponte, mamá.
Ponte, ándale, con el mono. Ahí voy. Ahí voy, espérame. Vamos a limpiar ese chocolate.
Yes, 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 yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Don't be shy, boy. Don't be shy. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Yes, yes, yeah. Good job, good job. Good job, baby.